Hi, Claude Whitacre here. I'm a sales trainer. I talk to groups of salespeople. I talk to groups of business owners, and if your income is determined by how much you sell, you might enjoy this. Well, a lot of times when I'm talking to groups of salespeople, they'll ask about qualifying and they'll ask about asking questions. Okay? Well, a lot of it is covered, well, all of it is covered in my book, One Call Closing. But what I'm going to cover today is just one little facet of that. And here's what I'm going to be talking about today. It's how many questions can you ask and what if they say no? Okay? Well, for example, I'm in one of my businesses, which is a retail store. I sell vacuum cleaners in here. When somebody comes into my store and when we're talking to a customer, we'll ask them a lot of different questions about what they're using right now and what kind of floors they have and what kind of carpeting do they have and how often do they vacuum and do they have carpeted steps and do they have allergies and do they have pets and is that important to them? Is there a certain budget they want to stay in? And we ask them a lot of different questions. But here's where a lot of people get tripped up. Is they'll ask the question, and if the person says no, they go, oh well, like you know, this vacuum cleaner will pick up pet hair. Do you have pets? And they go, well, no. Oh, okay. Well, okay. The reason I ask is because if you did have a pet, this would be great for picking up pet hair because it does a really good job of picking up pet hair. Now, if you blurt that out, here's what the guy's going to say or the lady's going to say and think. She's going to be thinking, but. So that's for people with pet hair. I don't have a pet. That's not for me. See? But what if I had just asked her, if I had said, do you have pets? And she said, no. Okay. Do you have carpeted steps? Well, you know what? When she said no, she doesn't have a pet, I didn't ask her any more questions about pets. I didn't say, well, you know, because the reason I'm asking is because we have vacuum cleaners that will pick up pet hair, and the reason I was asking is because pet hair is a really big problem nowadays, and some people have allergies to pet hair, and I just want to know if, you know, did you ever have a pet? I mean, you don't want to ask questions like that because those questions go nowhere. Those questions do not further the chance of them buying. It does not lead to a sale. Okay? But you can ask multiple questions. For example, when I'm asking somebody a series of questions, and I'm going to show them a vacuum cleaner, I might say, do you have an absolute preference for upright or canister? And they'll go, no, not really. And I'll say, okay, do you have carpeting or mostly bare floors? Oh, mostly bare floors. Do you have pets? No. Do you have allergies? No. Do you have carpeted steps? No. Well, they just said no to like 3 things. All right. Do you have brand new carpeting? No. Oh, okay. Well, what kind of carpeting do you have? I have, Berber carpeting. Oh, okay. Well, the reason I'm asking, I don't say the reason I'm asking until they say yes to something. See, they can say no 10 times to me if I'm asking them, does this apply to you? Basically, that's what I'm asking. Does this apply to you? 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 They can say no 10 times, and until I get to the first one where they go, well, yes. See, I can go ahead then and say, well, the reason I'm asking, and they'll start talking about what they just said yes to, and what they just said applies to them. And here's the amazing part of it. They completely forget all those 9 things ahead, that you just asked about that don't apply to them. They completely forget that. For example, I've never in my entire life had somebody say, well, wait, before we go any further, earlier when you said, when you asked me if we have pets, and I said no, why did you ask if we have pets? That's never happened. Nobody's ever gone back and said, well, wait a minute, now why did you ask me this question before? They don't care. All they care about is what applies to them. So they'll say no, 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 yes. See? Oh, okay, great. Well, the reason I'm asking that question is, and I'll come up with a reason why I'm asking the question. Now, to them, in their mind, now what I'm showing them applies directly to them. See? So that's what you want to do. You want to ask them questions. Now, if the first thing that you ask them applies to them, then by all means start talking about that. But like if you're selling a business service, you can say, over the phone, let's say you said, do you have employees? No. Okay, do you work specific hours? No. Do you have a brick and mortar business? No. Do you pay a sales tax? No. Okay, do you ever prospect for calls? Yes. Oh, okay, good. Well, the reason I'm asking that is, and you start giving them a reason. To them, they forgot all about all those things they said no to. See, when you start talking about what is in their interest and what's to their benefit. Now to them, what you have is directly for them. It's exactly what they need, even though they have already said no to half of the things that your product does or half of the things your service would cover. See, so you want to be very, very specific about what you talk about when you're talking to a customer, and I never talk about things that don't apply to them. Okay? For example, if I say, do you have allergies? And they say, no, I don't have allergies. I never talk about allergies. I don't talk about my allergies. I don't talk about allergies at all. Why? Because it doesn't apply to them. Only talk about what applies to them. And if you have a product that has 50 features and only 15 of those things apply to them, talk about those 15 features. Don't ever talk about the other features. Why? If you have a product that has 15 or 50 features, 15 of them apply to the customer, and you talk about those 15 features to that customer, that machine, or that product, or that service is made specifically for them. That's powerful, okay? But if you have 50 features in your product or service and only 15 apply to them, but you talk about 25 different parts of your product or 25 different parts of your service, then what do they think? They're thinking, well, some of that stuff applies, but I'm paying for a lot of stuff that doesn't apply. This isn't really for me. That's what they're thinking. So if you want them to be red hot about buying what you sell, everything that you talk about has to apply directly to them because they've already told you that it applies directly to them. I talk about that and a lot of other things on how to almost guarantee that you'll be able to close sales on the first call. My book is One Call Closing, the ultimate guide to closing any sale in one call. It's on Amazon.com. Thank you.